Hello, my name is Ethan Klein. I am CEO of crowdholding.com, and I'd like to introduce you to our pitch deck and my pitch. First off, start with problems. Right now, startups lack the opportunity to validate their product and to find early customers. This often leads to a startup building a product in which they don't know what problem they're actually solving for their customer, which leads to them actually failing. It's building a product before you can actually validate and know you're fixing a problem. In addition, startups give ownership for capital. This is in the form of equity through investments. And currently, there is no current influence for the public on products themselves. Basically, customers don't really have the ability now to choose their favorite brands to co-create and be a part of. Thus, there's actually no what we call a C2B application really addressing this today. So this is sort of the definition of what crowdholding is, as you see here. A business offers what we call crowd shares, representing a future percentage of revenue, to the customer, are called crowd holders. And in return, they give feedback and ideas to the business, sort of an idea of what you call sweat equity, but this in fact is sweat revenue. So how the application works is quite simple. As said before, startups give a percentage of future revenue. We call this crowd shares. 1% of revenue actually equals 1 million crowd shares. The startup then posts a task issuing a specific amount of crowd shares. The public, crowd holders, then contribute ideas, solutions, and feedbacks, and upvotes their favorite ideas, allowing the ideas and work to be ranked for the startup to see. The crowd shares are then rewarded by the rankings of the votes. And so overall, startups get benefits from the ideas, and the crowd holders are rewarded with income. So how is this value for the startup? Let's start with the idea of creating a buzz. When you are a user and you helped co-create Coca-Cola, for example, you're going to tell your friends. So this is a way to create a buzz even within your social media and your followers. In addition, you're actually building a relationship. When you become closer to your customer, you benefit from them. And in addition, when you think about selling of crowd shares, you actually are preserving your equity as a startup. And often startups can force during growth time losing a large percentage of their equity where they lose control of their company. On the benefit of the crowdholders side, for the first time they actually get to influence the brands they love. They get to earn extra income from this. They can work from anywhere in the world and choose exactly actually what they want to work for. And then they create an actual brand identity of themselves. They are learning new skills, developing new skills to showcase their ability from many businesses on our application. So this is where our market fit is. As you see, we're creating a new type of sector that's in between crowdfunding and crowdsourcing. We actually call this a social co-creation application. We've actually studied many different indirect competitors that has developed our current application that we're building for beta. But one of my favorite ones and best example is a company called Quirky. Now, Quirky was very successful with getting users. In fact, they had millions of users on their application. What these users did was give feedback and ideas of new products that Quirky could build. But what the problems was they actually lacked a very bad business. They had a very bad business model. And what they try to do is build too many products from these ideas. In return, they actually gave $10 million back in revenue to their users, but they went bankrupt $100 million. And this is because they stretched themselves too thin. They developed the manufacturing, the distribution, the sales. They did it all. And a lot of times as a creator, when you're building a product, you end up doing a 1.0 version, a 2.0 version. You get different versions to improve it from the feedback of your users. What they did was create a 1.0 version and then moved on to the next product, which ended up hurting their sales because of this. Basically, what we're doing is we're connecting the creators with the crowd and being a mediator instead of trying to do everything, which in turn makes us, in a way, a second mover advantage from the example of Quirky. Quirky showed the business and the people wanted this, but their model actually is what created their bankruptcy. So this is our current time roadmap. Back in fall, we created our first MVP. We had 50 crowd holders. These were 50 of our friends helping us find bugs and testing out the forum system using a Django framework. This is our current situation where we are right now. We're in preparation for beta launch come March 16th, which we already have 12 startups on board. And our goal is during our 4-month beta is to have 25 startups and 10,000 crowd holders. Actually, this week we probably will have 15 because we've had 3 more startups apply. So we are pretty confident we will reach the 25 startup mark. Now our goal is to really push the crowd to come to our application. The second phase after beta is when we allow our top companies on our application to begin raising funds by selling crowd shares to their community. And finally, the maturity stage, which would be roughly a year and a half, would be actually allowing crowd holders to trade these shares using a blockchain system, in a way kind of decentralizing the financial market. Now, how the revenue model works, as you see, the business is on the right, the crowd holders on the left. When the business shares their revenue, we will be taking a 10% cut. When the crowd holders in phase 2 begin selling crowd shares, or buying crowd shares from the business, we will take a 5% cut. Now, you may be familiar, this is a similar revenue model of Kickstarter when they take cuts from the backers pre-ordering products. Now, where I'm about to tell you right now is just the vision in the long term, when already what you see right here is a business model that actually makes significant revenue. You can automatically just think, if we had 100 startups raise $40,000, what would be the amount? So that would be $200,000 in revenue. So this system, once we get running, already we have a sustainable business. But this is what our vision goes for cherry on top, I call it. When we allow crowd holders to actually trade these crowd shares, as you know, which I'll put here as you see where our logo just ended up, this is a position of where the broker takes commission, as we see in Wall Street. And instead of us taking a commission, we actually will use this commission to give right back to the companies. So the more shares you have traded, the more revenue the company makes, which in turn, the more revenue the crowd holders make from this system. This in turn will be the future of a blockchain system. Now this whole model, I could go off on a tangent on a whole new business, but this is where the end vision goes when we have created the masses. Now our current startups that we have on board, we actually have from numerous different industries, from fashion to gaming, to renewable energy even, to social media applications, even a musician and a novel. We're testing out many different specific industries to see what sticks. So come our real launch, we'll be able to know which industry to focus on and then what we call a waterfall strategy, go into the other industries that you see. Our current team, I like to call, we are an A team. As you see, myself, I have been part of numerous Kickstarter campaigns and basically have seen how crowds react in the masses and how applications such as Kickstarter, Indiegogo works. From my experience there, I basically understand crowd behavior. Henry Ashley Cooper, as you see, CellDep, worked as a front-end developer, but he also had some experience with developing a game on an Android application which had 3 million downloads. Our CTO, Rosario, was a former principal architect for NetSuite, as well as Alex Bozhinov worked in the Department of Marketing and Sales in Google. Actually, he is one of our co-founders along with Henry as a co-founder. And Google, right before he left in December, actually tried to keep him, so they wanted to keep him, and actually was going to double his salary, but still left believing in what we're doing here at Crowdholding. And then followed by Paul Lache, who is a former product manager of Skype, and since the beginning, when we came up with the idea of crowdholding, was an advisor, and then we brought him on board from his experience and his support he has given us through the year. So, actually, this is the raising of 60K. This is kind of old right now because we have now raised up to 40K for our application to give us a 4-month runway because we are building it here in the Czech Republic, Prague. But what we will be looking for is during this time of even your event, we'll be looking to raise $500,000 or higher during this time, because this is when we will already be into beta and showing what I believe will be good traction, because we have startups on board, and actually startups love what we're doing. And through our behavioral data that we've collected, the public should love this as well. So that's what we'll be looking for. And so thank you very much for hearing. And I look forward to hearing your feedback. Cheers.